Alright, I'm Lavia, and welcome back to Limbus Company. The signs of Limbus Company in the Old Testament. We have Adobe Acrobat's not on the OBS right now. Alright. Oh, there it is. We zoom at Chapter 3 of Haruhi Suzumiya, Volume 2, Signs of Haruhi Suzumiya. Okay. Saturday, the day of. We assembled in front of the station. I stuffed an assortment of junk into the target largest backpack I could find in our house, and walked all the way to the station to find the other four lined up waiting for me. From a distance, my eyes were drawn to Haruhi in casual dress. Let's rearrange my OBS stuff real quick. Well, what do you mean just struggling for your still... What? And Asahina in feminine clothing next to her. Like two sisters who didn't resemble each other the least bit. Asahina was supposed to be the upperclassman here, yet she looked like the younger sister. Only her clothes appeared to be more mature. Asahina, surrounded by the trio of weirdos, spotted me and waved her hand in a somewhat relieved fashion by way of greeting. You're right! Haruhi was yelling, but she looked to be in high spirits again today. She was standing empty-handed because her megaphone and phone director's chair were among my burden of assorted junk. It isn't 9 o'clock yet, I said sourly as I looked left and right at Nagoto's porcelain face and Tozumi's easy smile. Anyway, Nagoto's always wears a uniform when we don't have school, so that's normal, but why is Tozumi also wearing his uniform? It would appear that this is my costume for the movie. That was his response. That is what I told you yesterday. My role will be that of an esper, disguised as an ordinary high school student. Isn't that exactly what you are? As I dropped my bag, stuffed with the camera and props, and wiped off my forehead, Haruhi grinned like a grade steward about to go on a field trip. John, you were the last to show up, so you'll be fine. But not yet. We are taking the bus now. I'll cover the bus fare. Without unnecessary expense. You buy lunch for everyone. And with that totalitarian decision, she started waving her hand. Come on, everyone! The bus stops this way! Get a move on! It didn't escape my attention that her armband now read Super Director. Apparently, Haruhi had already believed herself beyond a mere great director. She must have had one hell of a movie in mind. I'll say it again, and as in a promotional video, will be far more entertaining to film. After 30 minutes of bumpy bus riding, we got off at a stop in the hills. Then we spent another 30 minutes laboriously hiking up a steep trail. It was a commonplace forest park you could find anywhere. Being born and raised around here, I was quite familiar with the area. When I was in grade school, we had a hiking field trip to the nearby hills almost every year. It was a park in name only. In reality, just some cleared off open space with a fountain tacked on. An utterly empty place that made you want to openly question why a person would voluntarily climb up here. The only happy people I saw around here were kids ignorant of pleasure and the family members who brought them here. We set up in a corner of the plaza where the fountain was and designated it as our filming base. Empty-handed, Haruhi looked to be brimming with energy, but I was completely worn out. If I hadn't forced half the stuff onto Tozumi on the way up, I seriously might have collapsed. I leaned against the rather vulgar issue looking bag and tried to catch my breath. I'm assuming that's a brand. That's my best. Would you like a drink? A small plastic bottle was thrust before me. The hand holding the bottle belonged to Asahina. If you don't mind that I already drank from it. Oolong tea, made for dogs. It must taste heavenly. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If I don't drink it, lightning will strike me down. As I proudly reached for the offered drink, the evil devil's hand brushed away the angel's arm. Haruhi snatched the oolong tea away from Asahina. Save it for later, Mercuru. Now isn't the time to be watering the help. We have to hurry, or else we might lose this perfect weather. Let's get the camera rolling. Asena's eyes opened wide as saucers. What? We are going to shoot here? Of course we are! Why do you think we came here? Then I don't have to change? Since there isn't a place for me to change around here. Sure there is! Look, there are places all around us! Haruhi pointed to an area surrounded by a jagged ridge of trees. No! Help! Before I had a chance to help, Haruhi disappeared deep into the woods with Asahina in tow. Once Asahina reappeared, she was clad in the spiffy waitress outfit that would serve as her film attire. Her hair was a tumbled mess as she gazed with quivering eyes at the autumn foliage growing on the side of the road. One of her eyes was noticeably a different color, her left eye's blue. What the hell? Color contact, Haruhi explained. It's pretty important to have the left eye be a different color. Look, that's all it takes to add to her mysteriousness. It's all we need to make this work. A symbol of sorts. A symbol! She grabbed Asena's chin from behind and tilted her little face. Asena just looked dumbfounded as she was being manipulated. There's a secret in this blue eye, said Haruhi. Well, yeah, wouldn't be much of a story if her eyes were different colors for no reason. The sight of Asena's exhausted face was enough to hook me, though. Alright, let's hit the shop node. So, what's so secret about that tower contact? That's still a secret, Haruhi replied with a smirk. Hey, Mikuru, how long are you going to play dead? Get your act deader. You are a reading actress, the most important person as a director and producer. Chin up, stand up straight. What? And with a sob, Asahina began posing per Haruhi's instructions. Haruhi forced Asahina to hold the pistol, it's just a model, in her hands. Act like you are a female assassin. And make sure people can tell you are from the future. Just a few of her unreasonable requests. Asahina timidly held the Glock as she glanced sideways at me, the camera, as best as she could. Gotta love how you can feel her pushing herself. Yeah, no, I'm serious. In any case, that freak sure is unnecessarily active. I've seen plenty of bad movies. I never thought that I could do a better job, so I should make my own film. I wouldn't know how to go about making one anyway. Even if I were to make my own film, I don't entertain the notion that it would be any good, but it would appear that Haruhi seriously believes she has the talent to be a director. At the very least, it's pretty certain that she intends to make something better than those minor films on late night TV. What exactly does she have to support all that confidence? Haruhi was yelling as she waved the yellow megaphone around. Mikuru! Act less embarrassed! Forget who you are! You just need to become your role! You are no longer Miruku Asahina! You are Mikuru Asahina! Of course, we already knew that there was no bias for Haruhi's confidence. Causing chaos in natural order with groundless confidence was an ability Haruhi was born with. Or else, she wouldn't be able to proudly wear that armband and act so high and mighty. Under director Haruhi's supervision, we began the commemorative shooting of the first scene? Commemorative shooting? Yeah, it's commemorative. Except that it just consists of me standing on the side, shooting Asahina running across the area. This is supposed to be the opening. He could have at least written a script. Haruhi said flat out that no such thing existed. We battled to put everything on paper and it got leaked. That was her reasoning. Looks like we're going to film this movie Hong Kong style? I was feeling pretty damn exhausted at this point, but when I looked through the camera lens at Asahina, dual-wielding pistols, jogging along out of breath, I figured I had it relatively easy. As the rest of us watched, Asahina continuously ran verbally from right to left until the fifth take, when the director finally signaled okay, which was when she collapsed on the ground, paying no attention to the waitress with both her hands on the ground as her back rose and fell with each breath. Haruhi directed her next instructions to Nagato, waiting on the sidewalls. Okay, we're doing Yuki and Mikuru's battle scene next. Nagato, in her favorite black outfit, slowly moved in front of the camera. The outfit was just a pitch black mantle over her uniform and a black pointy hat on her head, so there was no need for her to be dragged into the thicket like Asahina. Fortunately, then again, Nagato would probably be fond of changing her clothes anywhere. Why don't we reverse the roles? Their roles. Make Nagato the waitress and Asahina the mage. That would be curiously appropriate. Haruhi had Asahina and Nagato standing face each other 3 meters apart. Then facing. Oh, I said facing. Mercuro, unweld like crazy on Yuki. Huh? Mercuro responded, shook her hair, was just a tangled mess after all that running. But I'm not supposed to fire this at people. It's fine. With your aim, you won't hit her much anyway. Even if you're able to hit her, Yuki could probably just dodge it. Nagato just stood silent with the star-tipped pointer in hand. Well, yeah, I'd have to agree there. Nagato could have a done press on her forehead and still manage to dodge the bullet. Looking like a newly hired waitress having to report a broken dish to the starry chef. Asahina nervously glanced up at Nagato. It's fine, replied Nagato. With a spin of the pointer, she said, shoot me. See? She says it's fine. Fire away! And just a heads up, you don't fire both at the same time. You alternate. That's a basic principle of dual-wielding pistols. Tozumi was holding the reflector board above his head. Haruhi brought it from who knows where. The photography club might be reporting a theft right about now. Anyways, Tozumi, aren't you the reading man? One must adapt to circumstances as they change. I'm more disposed to being on this side of the camera. I've been thinking since yesterday about a way to remain backstage. Asahina, straining to hold up the pistols, fired rapidly with her eyes shut tight, and I stood to the side filming that sight. I couldn't really see the BB trails, but considering that Nagato was standing completely still without even a flicker of emotion across her face, I guess she really wasn't storing any hits. Maybe she's using magic. Or so I was thinking, when Nagato slowly raised the pointer and rolled it before her face. 2 question mark nodes? Oh, 4 is already over already, really? Well, okay, I guess. Yeah, we're at the shop node already. Because I don't have to mute the Dame audio. Oh, what's this right dumbass on this thing then? So we can get the ego diffs. Even without glasses, her vision was as incredible as ever. Nagato was staring at the muzzle without a single blink. Not because... not that she blinked much to begin with, but then again, blinking just because. It would be unnatural if I didn't blink once in a while. It would feel even more unnatural. Whether she was walking around with her pupils wide open, breaking through ceilings, or teleporting around, I would no longer be surprised. Which was why I wasn't surprised right then. Nagato waved the pointers periodically like a broken windshield wiper, and with each swing, BBs fell with a clatter. In any case, it sure was a boring battle scene. Nagato was only waving her wand around, and Asahina was only firing those 2 blocks or Berettas or whatever. And she wasn't hitting anything. First off, Haruhi only told her to unload like crazy, and didn't give her any lines to say. All we could hear was Asahina moaning and wailing in her, lovely voice. The whole thing felt more like a half-hearted battle scene between a viper and mongoose, who had agreed to avoid any fatal blows beforehand. Yeah, that should do it! Once Asahina had run out of bullets, Haruhi tapped her shoulder with the megaphone. I lowered the video camera and approached Haruhi, sitting cross-legged on the director's chair. Hey, Haruhi, how is this a movie? I have no idea what the story is about. Super Director Suzumiya gave me a side glance. That's fine. I plan on having a lot of cut and paste work done during the editing phase anyway. Who's going to be doing it? That cut and paste work. I have a feeling the word editing has been included in my list of duties. At least put in some lines, I suggested. We can just remove the noise and dub over later if we have to. We don't have to add sound effects and background music. There's no need to think too much about it at this point. Wait, where's that? Wait. Well, yeah, considering the story's only in your head at this point, there's nothing for us to think about. At the very least, I have to take care to keep Haruhi's sexual harassment of Asahina to a bare minimum. No other males are allowed to touch her body. That's where I draw the line. No one's got a problem with that, right? Let's move on to the next scene then. Time for Yuki's counterattack. Yuki, wreck Mikuru with your magic. Nagoto's eyes, darker than her costume, turned to me from under the brim of her black hat. Her head tilted at an angle only I could distinguish. I basically got the message. Nagoto was asking if it was okay. No! Was the obvious response. Magic aside, I didn't give permission to hurt Asahina in any way. Look, she's all pale and trembling. Of course, I had no idea that Nagoto could use incomprehensible, spontaneous magic. She just wanted her to act like she was using magic. Nagoto appeared to understand, and, while remaining completely silent, raised the antenna pointer and began waving it around the way audience members at a concert waved glow sticks. That's good enough, said Haruhi. We'll add visual effects to the scene later. And we'll add visual effects to the scene, John. I got mixed up with right below. Make it so there are beams shooting out of Yuki's wand later. How am I supposed to add in effects like that? I don't have the ability. If you are planning on borrowing staff and equipment from Industrial Light and Magic, though, that's a different story. That's when Mikuru should scream and then fall down in pain. After a moment of nervous hesitation, Asahina murmured, "Eee," before suddenly falling straight onto her face. Nagoto stood next to a fallen Asahina like the Grim Reaper, come to claim her soul. I stood filming the whole scene while Tozumi stood next to me, still holding up the reflector board. The stares from all the families around us were starting to hurt. Alright, so that's so far it's only been 6 pages, really? We're on floor 3, aren't we, too? Or no, this is floor 2! This is floor 2! Oh, but 17 minutes in. Should I swap the Bible now? It's like a big thing here. It's like a good part to stop. I'll continue reading. Having been granted a brief respite in a most compassionate act by Haruhi, we sat in a ring on the ground. Haruhi was replaying the film I had shot with a deliberate look on her face as she nodded to herself. A number of children had stirred in between Asahina and Nagoto and were asking questions like, "What show is this for?" Asahina shook her head with a weak smile, while Nagoto completely ignored them, becoming one with the land. I had no idea what time the scenes the footage was taking, I was taking would be used for, since Haruhi refused to tell us. But the super director informed us that we would be going to a nearby shrine next. Break's over already, huh? There are doves there. That's the case, apparently. We are going to film Mikuru, walking with doves flying all around in the background. I prefer doves that are completely white. I'm willing to take any color at this point. I was pretty sure we were only going to find typical park doves. With her arm linked in the already worn out Asahina's arm, so she wouldn't be able to run away. Haruhi walked through the forest park toward the street. Azumi and I divided up the equipment and followed like local Sherpas? What? What? Ethnic. Oh, wait. It's those. It's like the ones that follow like the mountainer people. Okay. Doing a piece on the jungle. We eventually arrived at a large shrine in the middle of the mountains. I hadn't been there in a while, not since a field trip in grade school. Haruhi stood. The fights. You know, the weather right now is honestly not good for sitting inside and playing a game. It's not good weather for it. See, when I'm also having, I have two fans on. I should probably turn one of the fans off, maybe. Hey, fan over here, I'm turning you off. Alright, I turned off one of the fans. Let's have another fan on. Alright. Haruhi stood in front of a sign on the ground that said, "Do not feed," while spreading breadcrumbs like she was trying to make flowers bloom on a wilted tree. I guess she can't read. All at once, the ground was covered in a swarm of doves, endlessly dropping from the sky. The sight of the shrine grounds covered in doves was quite disturbing. As Anna was standing alone within the carpet of doves, the waitress stood, lip trembling, with her feet being pecked. I was filming the scene from the front. What the hell was I doing? Off screen, Haruhi raised the eagle or darkov or whatever kind of gun it was she had taken from Asahina and flipped off the safety. I was wondering what she was doing when she suddenly fired at Asahina's feet. Never thought I'd actually to see doves being whacked by a pea shooter. The act of violence, enough to make the SPCA come flying in, sent the symbols of peace fluttering and shrieking. This is it! This is the shot I wanted! John, make sure you're filming this! I suppose that since the camera was running, I was technically filming. Asuna was hunched over with her hands over her head within the swirl of doves flying in all directions. Come on, Makaru! You're supposed to walk toward us while the doves are flying in the background! Stand up! It didn't look like we'd have time to shoot in such a scene. As I gazed through the viewfinder, I had to see that in the background, a priest from the shrine had come flying in the SPCA steed. He was wearing a hakama. It was safe to assume that he was affiliated with the shrine. I was preparing for a stern lecture or two when Haruhi, without a moment's hesitation, resorted to drastic measures. With the CZ or SIG or whatever model gun in hand, she aimed at the old man and opened fire. The priest probably began dancing like he was standing on a hot iron plate. The AARPs looked at Tom calling next, "Retreat!" And with that cry, Haruhi quickly turned and sprinted off. No idea when Agoto had made her move, but she was already waiting for us under the date in the distance. Asuna would probably be too slow to escape if left there by herself, so Tozumi and I each grabbed an arm and carried her off with the rest of the equipment. The director had already run away. We couldn't leave the leading lady behind to be a scapegoat. 10 minutes later, we were sitting in the corner of some kind of roadside restaurant. We were having lunch, and for some reason, I had to pay for it. That might have been a waste, but it might have been a better ad-lib who just pretended that the old priest was an enemy and beat the crap out of him. Haruhi was babbling on about borderline criminal activity. Once Asahina had sucked in a whole 3 noodles of her zaru soba, she collapsed face forward on the table. Mikuru, you don't eat much, huh? You will never grow like that. Only your breasts are growing. That only satisfy a group of hardcore freaks. You need to grow taller, too. While she was saying that, Haruhi was stewing Asahina's noodles and starfing them down. Let's take that anyway. Alright, I already know. I don't know how many years it will be, but Asahina will grow to have a face and body to represent the whole solar system. She doesn't know that though. Tozumi had a mocking smile on his face. Nagoto tactfully moved the assorted sandwiches to her mouth and chewed. I pushed my empty plate of spaghetti to the side and spoke to Haruhi with 2 people's lunches before her. What are you going to do with that priest complaining to the stool? Tozumi's uniform made it pretty obvious where we were from. It'll probably be fine. Haruhi was ridiculously optimistic. It was very far away, and the blazer's pretty taunted. If he does complain, we just have to play dumb, pretend it was someone else. BBs aren't enough to prove anything. I stared at the video camera containing the incriminating evidence. I'm pretty sure that the second this is streamed, the cat will be out of the bag. I doubt there is another waitress in the area willing to go to a shrine to be surrounded by doves. So, where are we going next? We'll go back to the park. On second thought, that wasn't enough to be a battle. We need more intense action to grip the audience's hearts. Yeah, I can picture it already. Mikuru running frantically around the forest, pursued by Yuki. And then Mikuru falls off a cliff. That's when Tozumi, who happens to be passing by, saves her. How does that sound? Pretty haphazard turn of events. What kind of high school student would happen to be walking by in the middle of these mountains in his uniform? Pretty damn suspicious. And I had a feeling that Haruhi really intended to shove Asahina off a cliff. Yeah, Haruhi, you should take the fall. Put on the costume and act as Asahina's stunt double. Well, you are missing a bit around the chest area. As I was pondering such matters, Haruhi raised her eyebrows and gave me a sideways look. Two question mark nodes? Oh, it's the third sword ego death. A 60 towners wins. Wow, I don't think I actually did that. I don't think I actually did that. Hold on. Wait, what? Are you thinking about something else? You had better not be picturing me in the waitress outfit. What an accurate guess. I'm the director. I can't just merely step in front of the camera. If you try to chase a couple of rabbits, you'll end up tripping over a stump and falling down. Aren't you also supposed to be the producer? There's nothing wrong with undertaking multiple backstage roles. Still, it might be nice to show up on camera for a brief cameo appearance. Adding some fun tidbits will hook those hardcore fans. What kind of fans are you aiming for? Asahina fans? At this point, there's nothing more than Asahina costume collection. This is nothing more than Asahina costume collection. On second thought, that's good enough. Zombie returned his Afe lot to the table with an elegant motion. Are the three of us the only ones who will be appearing in the movie? Idiot, don't ask unneeded questions. That's right! Haruhi pucked her lips like a duck's bill and retained deeply engrossed in thought. You should think this time to stuff out beforehand. 3 people might be too few. Yeah, it's not enough. Supporting characters that would allow the main characters to truly shine. Tozumi, excellent pickup. To show my appreciation, I will increase your screen time. Why, thank you very much. Tozumi remained smiling, though his face had an oops look on it. Serves you right. The sweeping dogs lie. I keep my mouth shut. But where did she intend to find new characters? There was a 75% chance that anyone she brought in at random would have some kind of twisted backstory based on progression. A slider would probably be next. And I don't want one of those to show up in our world. Huh? Based on progression, a slider. What's a slider? Huh? It just like sliding? That's questionable. What the heck are you doing? Ryoshu? You don't need to, Ryoshu. There's other members of the team that can easily take up a still freezes. That's a lot. Okay, fine. That makes way more sense there, okay? See? It all works out for the team. Remember, the strength of the team is each member. The strength of the team is each... Wait, what? I think I messed up the quote down. For which there's a... You'd have to beat up a bunch of underlings for you to defeat the last boss. Underlings. I glanced at Haruhi, fingers stroking her lower lip. They should be good enough. I read Haruhi's mind. Taniguchi and Tonokita. The only 2 people I can live with her bringing in at this point. Less significant than supporting characters. True underlings. They are less harmless than healer swine showing up alone. That works. I averted my eyes from the face of the director, looking like she wanted one more person to steal a glance at Asahina, her eyes shut and her cheek on the table. She's even cute when she's asleep, even if she's faking it. I turned to look at Nagoto, slurping her soda in that Grim Reaper getup. Once I was done observing her unreactive emotion, I turned back to Haruhi. So, what's next? What are we filming? Haruhi slowly gulped down the soda broth, buying herself the time it took until it finished. When she was done, she spoke. In any case, we have something bad happen to Mikuru. A poor little girl undergoes ordeal after terrible ordeal until she finally gets her happy ending. That's the theme of this movie. The more Mikuru suffers, the more impact the final catharsis will have. Don't worry, Mikuru. The movie has a happy ending. And well, with the stop there, we're going to the final floor already. We're up at page 79. Alright? Okay, we return to the Bible. So I had to look at my previous video to see where that was. 34, a new copy of the Covenant. Then the Lord told Moses, chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones. I'll write on them the same words that were on the tablets you smashed. Be ready in the morning to climb up Mount Sinai. Present yourself to me on the top of the mountain. Oh, what's this that fell? Wait, where is it? No one else may come with you. In fact, no one is to appear anywhere on the mountain. Do not even let the flocks or herds graze near the mountain. So Moses chiseled out 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. And early in the morning, he climbed the Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him. And he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in a cloud and stood there with him. And he called out his own name, Yahweh. The Lord passed in front of Moses, calling out, Yahweh, the Lord, the God of compassion and mercy. I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive inequity, rebellion, and sin, but I do not excuse the guilty. I weigh the sins of the parents upon their children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generations. Moses immediately threw himself to the ground and worshipped. And he said, Oh Lord, if it is true that I have found favor with you, then please travel with us. Yes, it's a stubborn and rebellious people, but please forgive our inequity and our sins. It's I-N-I-Q-U-I-T-Y. That's inequity. I think that's what it is. Claim us as your own special possession. Oh, actually, you know, I should probably just start ego spamming here now at this point, alright? Okay, yeah, that's just pretty fun. It should be fine. You know, sanity will be lowered, won't it? Goes with tremor for the AoEs start taking effect, I guess. Okay, in any case, the Lord replied, Listen, I am making a covenant with you in the presence of all your people. I will perform miracles that have never been performed anywhere in all the earth or in any nation, and all the people around you will see the power of the Lord. The awesome power I will display for you. But listen carefully to everything I command you today. Then I will go ahead of you and drive out the Amorites, the Ananites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be very careful never to make a treaty with the people who live in the land where you are going. If you do, you will follow their evil ways and be trapped. Instead, you must break down their pagan altars, smash their sacred pillars, and cut down their Asherah poles. You must worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. You must not make a treaty of any kind with the people living in the land. They lust after their gods, offering sacrifices to them. They will invite you to join them in their sacrificial meals, and you will go with them. Then you will accept their daughters, who sacrifice to other gods as wives for your sons. And they will seduce your sons to commit adultery against me by worshipping other gods. You must not make any dolls of molten metal for yourselves. You must celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast. Just as I commanded you, celebrate this festival annually at the appointed time in early spring, in the month of Abil. For that is the anniversary of your departure from Egypt. The firstborn of every animal belongs to me, including the firstborn males, from your herds of cattle and your flocks of sheep and goats. A firstborn donkey may be bought back from the Lord by presenting a lamb or young goat in its place. But if you not buy it back, you must break its neck. However, you must buy back every firstborn son. No one may appear before me without an offering. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work. But on the 7th day, you must stop working, even during the seasons of plowing and harvest. You must celebrate the festival of harvest with the first crop of the wheat harvest, and celebrate the festival of the final harvest at the end of the harvest season. 3 times each year, every man in Israel must appear before the sovereign, the Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out the other nations ahead of you and expand your territory, so no one will traverse and conquer your land, while you appear before the Lord your God 3 times each year. You must offer not. You must not offer the blood of my sacrificial offerings that are of any baked goods containing yeast, and none of the meat of the Passover sacrifices may be kept over until the next morning. As you harvest your crops, bring the very best of the fine first harvest to the house of the Lord your God. You must not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down all these instructions, for they represent the terms of the covenant I'm making with you and with Israel. Moses remained there on the mountain with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. In all that time he ate no bread and drank no water. And the Lord wrote the terms of the covenant, the 10 commandments, on the stone tablets. When Moses came down Mount Sinai, carrying the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant, he wasn't aware that his face had become radiant as he had spoken to the Lord. So when Aaron and the people of Israel saw the radiance of Moses' face, they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called out to them and asked Aaron and all the leaders of the community to come over, and he talked with them. Then all the people of Israel approached him, and Moses gave them all the instructions the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking with them, he covered his face with a veil. But whenever he went into the tent of meeting to speak with the Lord, he would remove the veil until he came out again. Then he would give the people whatever instructions the Lord had gave him. And the people of Israel would see the radiant glow of his face, so he would put the veil over his face until he returned to speak with the Lord. Instructions for the Sabbath, 35, and I think we have to stop this. This is the final fight. Oh, wait, did you survive that? Really? Oh, I'm not the man who do this. I've been wabbed. Bye. I'm assuming this is the final film here with how much health they have left. But yeah, the mower office had to be, the more recently mower boat works had to be brought off the field after Ishmael died. I guess I moved Sinclair and was it Roma Ryoshi off for the last fight for this, for the from Apprentice and the what do you call it, Night Owls, because they got low in the previous fight. I was expecting some to actually die because they did. It was fighting against the negative 21s, so that's always a bit tricky for. Yep, there's a tail there. All right, Mirror to run over. Let's see the results and claim this before weekly reset in 30 minutes. No. Top down with Fate and Aroma and Solitude Ryoshi, followed by T-Torp plus 3 Trust Staff, Don't Trick So, T-Torp plus 2 Trust Staff, Rodeo. Really? They have damage? Plus 3 VDCU Staff, Otis. Is it VO? No, it's VDCU, yeah. Met Al Satino Dregor. Roman Ego Regret, Foss, more Bulwarks Fixer Ishmael, House Spiders, the Farmer Apprentice Heathcliff, more Bulwarks Fixer Sinclair. Really? Wow, okay. Brother Adventure Marcel, Estorp Chinokin Hongwu, Brother Jisaosu Yisong. Alright. Claim those rewards. This is when autos diffs, and it just goes to the next slide anyway. Team packs there. Race of Stars. Vital Pass. Circuit Adversaries on 4-5. Starlight. We're in the negatives. I'm just saying negative 330. Alright. Claim that last bonus. Yeah. Because we did the new intended thing is supposed to do free hard runs every week. And then increase the Battle Pass EXP dividend from it. The thing is, I don't need the Battle Pass EXP. I need more Lunancy for gambling. Oh, level up 2, I guess. Okay, what was that? Oh, man. 918, huh? Going into Walpurgis, I'm pretty sure I already did the math earlier. I have like 30 something, 300 and something pulls total. But in terms of boxes, there's nothing else for me to build. Besides Deviat Sinclair. All identities. Wow, let me see if I just filter by, I don't know, uptie 1, 2, 3. Oh, what's that? There's 9 egos. Fred Spin tier 1, 2, 3, 4. Fred Spin tier 5 is for some of them. Yeah, just these two, I guess. Have they added Rodions yet for 4th match flame? Hold on, where is it? HE. Where's 4th match Rodion? Where is it? Hey, I don't see it here. Huh? Oh, this one. Yeah, here it is. No, that's... Oh, they haven't added it yet? Really? They didn't accidentally add one I didn't read, right? I don't even know. Alright, we buy at least one more item. We save these for block deck. So, in any case. And we'll get the T-Torp a pinpoint collection staff, wherever they call them. That will be the block deck one, right? Is there another Chokin or another Blade Lineage one? It will be the N-Torp. Tremor Bleed, right? I want to see stages. Where do they appear to? No. Here we go, N-Torp. Okay, so Pinning Nail, offensive down for every 2 bind. Max free, then bleed equal to stack. Turn bursting, bleed town equal to stack once per turn. Turn ending, bind equal to stack. Turn max 6 and lose 1 stack. I think that'd be a bit too strong for the Sinners, actually. They would need like a nerfed version of Pinning Nail. Or they'll just probably reuse N-Torp the Frantic Nails. Not too sure. Yep, Tremor. Inframe subject, Unbreakable. Paralyzed Intelligence Shattering. I think it's still identical to still used for -5. Oh wait, they use like still identical to the other one? I don't think that'll work for the I never thought that actually function, I guess. Editorial rank to still photograph. Oh, we're using still identical weight to still photograph, first power -5. Oh, so debuff, so if you use like the same like still 2, use now still 2 next turn while having it, then it's first power -5, so they gathered the intelligence shattering on that still rank. Okay, that makes sense. Fresh up my Pinning Nail stack. What is that last one? Is that for when they turn back and I kill them too fast, maybe? Oh wait, they're supposed to have like the thing for the offense level, right? Hold on, let me check the wiki. Actually, I'll do it on my own. I'm grabbing them. I'll stop this here. Bye.